right, what's the good word on this one?
204.
204. 0-0 on the tune. Stock, and everything. All stock. You have it in stock?
100% stock. I know, it feels peppy, right?
Huh?
Have you ever driven 100% stock 7.3?
Yeah, I drove this back to the shop one time, and it was I was driving a liability is what it felt like.
Yeah, it's scary to pull out in front of traffic. They are so slow stock. And this is an empty truck. I mean, with a trailer hooked up.
Trying to tow an RV up a hill? Oh, hell no.
All right. Prepare for it. Getting out in front of traffic.
What's if you just drive it like an old Beetle or something, just floor it all the time? It's probably fine.
Get a boosted launch going, and...
Oh, pretty good. On. Oh, that tranny's not happy.
Man.
Oh, baby.
See if the trans makes a quarter mile. Are we doing quarter or 8?
We made it to 60. There's 8th mile already.
8th mile?
Oh, no.
Are we doing quarter?
We're almost at our quarter.
Okay.
16 seconds to the quarter.
For that 16 seconds, I really felt alive.
Oh,
the first thing you got to do to any 7.3 is tuning, and the Hydra's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Shifts better, runs better, more power, better fuel mileage, and makes the truck drivable when it comes to horsepower.
Way better.
Now, we do have tunes from Jellybill, Gearhead, Andrew Arthur, and Power Hungry on this, so we can try them all. They all make similar horsepower in the dyno stock, but they do drive differently depending on your preference. That's the big thing for me with custom tuning. It is, a lot of times it's not about who makes the most horsepower. It's about what do you think drives the best.
Alright guys, those stock power numbers, they weren't so impressive. So we're going to do the easiest thing you can do to your 7.3 Powerstroke, put on a PHP Hydra. And those factory tunes that come with that tuner are fantastic. So let's go throw it on and see what kind of power we can make.
The most essential part of the installation of the Hydra is the cleaning of your PCM. That's the hardest part for most people. It's not a big deal, but people tend to mess it up. If you clean it too much and scrub it down too much, you'll have problems. If you don't do it enough, you'll have problems. We recommend following the instructions from hydrahelp.com. Everything you need comes in the kit with the Hydra. It's a simple cleaning and scrubbing process and then putting the chip on there. But if the chip doesn't have good contacts, you can have problems. If the chip bounces loose, you can have problems. And the biggest thing is keep your keys out of the ignition during all installation. Don't leave them in the ignition. In fact, I don't even like to leave them in the truck, or I put them on the floor so I can see them. Because if you put that key in the ignition, not turn it forward, if you put it in the ignition, it can fry your PCM. All right, now that we've got the Hydra installed, let's talk about the Hydra, some of the advantages of it and how easy it is to use. We like to mount it right here, but there's a lot of different places you can mount it. When you turn the truck on, you'll see it light up. You can get a couple of options when you go through it. So you got a couple of different numbers. You can hold up to 15 tunes on this, but you don't have to put 15. Honestly, it's not usually needed. You need like a tow, a street, maybe a high idle, and a race, or you can order tunes from different tuners, but you can hold up to 15. If you go all the way down to 0-0, it bypasses the Hydra chip and goes back to factory. So whatever's on your PCM, it's what it's gonna go back to. You can also go all the way up to the NS, that means no start. It puts it into a bypass mode that the truck will not start. So you could literally put it no start, remove this little Hydra box, take it inside with you, and now the truck won't start. It'll sound like it's gonna start, but it just won't start. And when you get back, you can plug your Hydra chip back in, hook it back up, change back to whatever tune you want. We always recommend to cycle the key, and then bam, your truck will start again. So it's a really cool safety device. So the tunes are switch on the fly, but sometimes if you're changing in between strategies, the truck will do weird things. So it is suggested to have the truck off, cycle the key, change the tunes, cycle the key. But honestly, most of the time, you can just press the up or down arrows while you're driving. So let's hop on the dyno and see what kind of performance gains we're getting out of just the Hydra tuner.
291. Woo! What's wrong with these people?
Did you see the Minnesota license plate? Yeah. We have what we like to call snowbirds here in Arizona. They visit us when the weather gets nice.
Bunch of freaking idiots is what they are.
And you know what you can tell? Is all you see is that white poof above the steering wheel.
Fro hanging up the wheel. Yeah, I told you, right, like 2 days after I got my truck, I was going straight back on like that intersection on Southern. Going straight, and this old lady just 5 miles an hour through the intersection. I had to lock up the brakes, brand new truck on 37s, trying not to run into this lady. I was like, man, I should have just hit her.
Oh, that's sad.
I wonder if because I drove this out to Tony when it was about quarter tank, and it seemed fine, so maybe the sock is okay. I guess we'll find out.
Probably should have put a little fuel.
He's gonna be really pissed when we have to call him and be like, hey Tony.
Time to pull the fuel tank.
Hey pal, I need, can you bring some gas?
I think they call that the hutch and harpoon mod. You're supposed to pull the tank, cut the filler neck, because from factory, the filler neck dips so far into the tank that as the diesel foamed up, it hit that tube, and you'd only get like 3/4 of a tank out of it. You can click, if you just sit there and slowly click the pump handle, you can get an extra 3 to 4 gallons of these things. So if you cut that off, and then people will typically replace the sock, fix the sock, do a sump, do something else while you're in there. Yeah. Because when they get below quarter tank, they start sucking air.
Shuts off. Yeah.
You think the Trans is going to make it through one more launch? That last one felt a little iffy.
Oh, you got it in a tune now?
It's in the tune now.
Maybe
it might improve the shifting a little bit.
I really hope so, because that felt terrible. That felt really bad.
I might need to call for a tow after this.
I hope you have AAA on this. Here we go. Uh-oh, that didn't sound good. All right, we made it to 60.
Did we make it
There's
to
the 8th mile. Let's see. Check my time on my watch. No, there's a 1/4 mile. It's still about the same. Another 16-second 1/4 mile. Oh god, that Trans! I think the
that was like a 2 to 3 second delay on the Trans.
Oh god, this poor truck. Yeah,
I do think it's sucking air too.
Yeah.
Can you feel how it's like missing just a little bit?
The injectors, I was like, man, the injectors kind of sound not happy.
Yeah, we'll go put a little bit of fuel in it and try one more time.
So, if you're a man of great taste, much like myself, or Charlie, or Bill and Angela from DHP, you should probably check out the Summit 7.3. If you want to learn more about these old dinosaurs and what they can do, or anything you want about diesels, go check out the Summit 7.3. It's going to be tons of vendors there, tons of dealers, and tons of information so you can get up to speed on the latest news for these old trucks.
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Please shift. Oh, God.
Oh, there it is.
Come on, one more time, please.
Woo!
All right. She made it. 8th mile and 10. 1/4 mile now. 1670.
It is dropping ICP pretty hard.
Oh, geez.
That's probably the next upgrade we want to do.
Already?
To really show,
ICP.
yeah. ICP's dropping pretty hard.
Wow, so how do we fix that?
Injectors, HPOP, or both.
Yeah, okay.
If they're tired injectors, it could just be...
Probably are.
Yeah, they're tired. The injectors are tired for sure. If you replace with stock injectors and a new HPOP, it would definitely fix it. There's a chance one might fix it.
Yeah.
But at this point, most people just go with larger injectors.
Alright, so now that we've seen that this truck can do stock and with a Hydra on the street, well, other than the tranny being not so great, we also noticed ICP was dropping. So, we're going to attempt to fix that because we called up our good friends CNC Fab, Corey and the boys. We settled on a stage 2 HPOP and some crossover lines, sent us our way. We're going to put those on, see if they can't fix our issues. We checked our sensors, could be injectors, but we're just going to hope it's the HPOP. So let's get started.
All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this journey with us on the 7.3. We're kind of taking something 100% stock, we're testing it along the way and answering a lot of questions that you guys have had for us. So right now, 100% stock with the Hydra. During some of the testing, we ran into a problem, low ICP. So the high pressure oil pump is literally the heart of the 7.3 engine. It's what powers the HPOP injectors, and HPOP stands for hydraulic electronic unit injectors, or hydraulically actuated electronic unit injectors. What it does is it uses this hydraulic pump to power the injectors. So it's a little hydraulic pump that makes high pressure oil, which basically slams down on the top side of the injector, which pushes fuel out of the bottom side of the injector. The more ICP you have, the better it is for your truck. So one of the biggest things that we see people gloss over is not holding ICP, and it is huge on these trucks. So what we're going to start out by doing is putting a new CNC Fab Stage 2 HPOP in this truck and see how big a performance gains we can get on stock injectors by simply holding ICP.
It can be very scary when you're replacing something in your high pressure oil system because it can take a lot to get it started afterwards. It's because it has some air in the system that you got to work out. So don't crank it too long and burn up the starter, but you do need to crank it for a while and then get it running, and it will run rough for a while, sometimes up to 10 to 15 miles before it gets all the air out of the system.
From 204 to 311.
Nice.
Torque went from 416 to 699.
Hey, Charlie. Good guy. Found a stranger out front for you.
Yeah, Bill's here?
Yeah.
What's up?
Good morning.
Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man. Good to see you.
Appreciate it. You know, we were having this problem that Dyno was telling you about over the phone. We were having low ICP,
Okay.
and we debated, is it injectors, is it HPOP? We decided HPOP.
Okay.
So we stuck an HPOP on, and the problem is that we are holding ICP better now. It's 2200, maybe 2004. We'll hit 3000, maybe 3100, but then no, it's like that. It's like it flutters or it drops ICP and gains ICP. So we're hoping to just do a few dyno runs with you and see if you can help us figure it out.
Are you saying it during any specific RPM range, or
You know what's
say
weird
just
is
throughout the run? Or?
it seems like when the truck is warmer, it's worse. When it's colder, it's less. And sometimes it'll come like low in the RPMs, and then it continues for the rest of it. If I don't get it on as hard as soon, it won't do it until the end of the dyno run. But as soon as it flutters, it's like the whole dyno graph afterwards is fluttering.
Well, let's go on the down.
I appreciate you coming all the way out. I mean, this is a long way. Does this come with every Hydra when you buy free service to come out and live tune the truck?
Only for the really good reps.
Sorry, I know it's a climb to get in and out of this thing. If I start it too early and push it too hard, see how it gets that, and on the yellow one, it gets that just like drop off.
Right.
And then you can see that's like a smooth power. And once you get that drop off, it kind of comes back and it drops off and it comes back.
Very uneven.
If I start it later, like on this red one, it's pretty smooth throughout the whole graph. Or here's a green one where it started doing okay and it flooded a little bit and then it had a huge dip and drop off. You can see it in the ICP, but the IPR's not moving. You can see the IPR slowly. It's like 45 and then gets to 50 and it kind of hangs out around 50. But you'll see these huge dips and drops in ICP. Like the more post width you have, the harder you push it and the longer you push it, the worse that is. All right, so before we put the HPOP on, we were debating, is this HPOP? Is it injectors? And we're like, well, maybe the stronger HPOP will overcome bad injectors. This is our logic. If it's dropping ICP because maybe the tolerances are off. We were hoping that more pump, a stage 2 on stock injector is a little excessive, but now we're getting a different problem.
And in most cases, we do see oil pressure loss, especially on weaker pumps, as the oil demand goes up. So a lot of times changing the HPOP will fix that. But the situation that you're describing where you're seeing that flutter, that sudden drop in ICP without a change in IPR or anything like that, that's going to be probably more related to an injector issue. And one of the things that we've seen is once the injection pressure gets to a certain point, after a certain pulse width, we start seeing the inability of the solenoid to be able to maintain enough pull on the poppet to keep the pressure in the bottom end of the injector. So what'll happen is once we start getting up over about 3 milliseconds, 3.5, 4, it varies from injector to injector. You've got the oil coming in, and normally the poppet's pulled up to the solenoid, and then your oil goes down and pushes the plunger down. Well, and when we start seeing the coils getting a little weaker, they stop having the ability to really hold the injector against the 3000 psi that's trying to push the poppet back down. And so what will happen is...
So more ICP means the magnet has to overcome more of that.
It has to overcome that and the spring pressure that's trying to push the poppet back down. So you've got oil that's coming in, trying to push the plunger down, but the poppet starts to flutter, and it opens up the spill port, and so oil's coming in and also going back out the spill port, and it just immediately dumps the pressure in the rail.
So as ICP goes down, now suddenly the magnet can overcome it again, sucks it back up, ICP goes up, and maybe it gets a little bit of
so it'll start bouncing. Yeah.
But you're saying that our problem might be more related to
it's more electrical.
More electrical.
Yes.
You drew this earlier for me, and I'm just redrawing it. Maybe make a better drawing. But what you're saying is when the injector first turns on for what you said, around 1 millisecond, it's solid on.
Right.
But then after that, it shuts off for a split second, then it kind of like pulses or modulates.
Well, I mean, and it pulses, from zero, from off,
okay.
off on. But still, it's a pulse output to prevent damaging the coil.
If it's on too long,
yeah, it's going to burn the coil out. Yeah, the problem is we're pushing the injectors probably outside of the window what they're originally designed to do, and so we don't see these failures until these kind of issues until you start getting up above about 4 milliseconds, which under normal operating conditions you'll never see on those injectors. On a stock tune or even mildly modified tune, the pulse widths are never that high. So we started seeing as these trucks started getting older, we started seeing these issues. Once you start getting up over 4 milliseconds, 4.5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds, we started seeing these ICP issues. And we were chasing HPOPs and stuff like that as well, thinking a bigger pump would resolve these issues, and more often than not they don't. Or we see an improvement, but it's still not stable. We found that changing injectors solves the problem.
Do you think changing just solenoids might fix the problem?
I would almost bet that changing just the solenoids would. I don't think it's specifically an injector issue from the mechanical parts of that.
So your opinion, it's the injectors. And this truck isn't keeping stock injectors. We're going bigger 23880s and a stage 2 turbo. Right now it's stock turbo or stage 1 turbo. We did have this issue with the stock turbo, and then we put the stage 1 on there and it still had the same problem. So in your opinion, not IPR, probably not ICP, which we already checked, but you don't think it's that. You don't think it's HPOP. So if we put 23880s on there and the problem goes away, then that kind of confirms it was just something.
Well, it confirms that the HPOP is doing what it's supposed to do, and it's going to confirm that the injectors were the issue.
Well, if you want to hang out, we could throw the 23880s and a stage 2 in there and test it real quick, see what gains it has, and see if the problem goes away.
I'm at your disposal, man. Let's do it.
So Charlie, I know we're giving this thing away. I mean, do you feel like we're hitting the mark yet with something you'd be proud to give to someone?
We're nowhere close to where we need to be. I feel like we got a long ways to go, but I feel like we're trying to do it right. People ask for the data and the testing along the way, and we've been trying to do what you guys have asked in the comments. We're trying to do the build the right way. We're not doing a broed out truck. We're doing a Resto-mod. People wanted around 500 horsepower, and we knew we wouldn't get there right away, but it's kind of cool to change those parts out along the way.
Yeah, just slowly along the way. So we started with what? The Hydra. So we saw a lot of gains on the dyno, right?
Yeah, the Hydra made a huge gains on the dyno.
Crazy.
And you could feel it on the street big time.
But,
didn't show up in the quarter mile.
But 0-60, still the same?
It's still the same. Quarter mile.
Yeah, what do we think
slower.
That is? Yeah.
Two things for sure. One, the transmission is in trouble. That thing is, I don't know how it went from bad to worse so fast, but it's like a 2 to 3 second delay for the 1-2 shift. And when it does, it bangs. And then I don't know if it's slipping after that, but it just feels super sloppy. And then the ICP issue. So when we put the Hydra on there, it made decent power, but I think it was dropping to like 2,000 or 2,200 ICP.
Right. So what's normal for those trucks?
You want to be over 3,000.
Okay.
The closer to 3,300, the better.
Right.
2,000's really low.
That's bad. Okay.
It's really low. So that's why we did the HPOP.
Yeah.
We went with the CNC fab, stage 2 HPOP, and it kind of fixed the ICP issue.
It helped.
It helped. It would hold 3,200, but then it would fall to 2,000, go up to 2,600, fall again. So you can see that on the dyno graph.
Yeah.
There was serious gains, especially down low, but it started fluttering and doing all sorts of weird things.
Yeah. Oh, so another thing we get asked a lot, Charlie, is I just got this truck. It's my grandpa's truck. Someone just, I got a good deal on Marketplace and it's all stock. I have stock injectors and I want to do turbo. Is it worth it? Should I do it?
Oh, for sure worth it. But the gains aren't what some people might think they are. Okay. So we did put the turbo on. Yeah. We put a stage 1 turbo on stock injectors with the HPOP. And I want to say we saw, depending on what part of the graph, 15 to 20 horsepower gains.
Okay.
But what was cool is we saw an increase of 8 pounds of boost, and on a race tune, a drop of over 100 degrees in EGT. So are you going to gain 200 horsepower by adding a turbo? No. But 8 pounds of boost, cooler EGTs, more power all across the power band, less smoke. There's definitely gains to be had. And if you had injectors that didn't have an issue and you were holding ICP, I think you'd see even bigger gains. But we're only making like 300 to 350 when the turbo can do 450.
Right, yeah.
You're just out of fuel at that point. So there are gains, but turbo and injectors paired together are always going to be the best.
Okay. Okay. So we did the stage 1. What are we doing next? Injectors? Or what do you want to do?
I think it's time to do injectors.
So speaking of injectors, I called up our buddies at Full Force. They said, hey, yeah, we'll get you hooked up, taken care of. They asked what size. You said, probably something huge. What do we go with?
I mean, 238/80s should be more than we need. We could always pull it back a little bit. I felt like a 205/30 or 180/30s is not quite going to get us to where we want to be. Right. So I say we swing for the fences, 238/80s, and swap out the stage 1 for a stage 2. Okay. Stage 2, 238/80s should get us where we want. I don't know, what do you guys think? 238/80s, the new Gen 3 Stage 2 Turbo. How much horsepower are we going to see? Remembering that there's virtually no supporting mods. Stock exhaust, stock air filter, stock fuel pump, stock fuel system. I mean, we don't even know if it's going to hold fuel pressure. How much horsepower do you guys think that combo will make? 238/80s, Stage 2 Turbo.
Stage 2. I'm going to say 499.
499.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
If you guys didn't know, we are giving away this legendary 7.3, and if you'd like to learn more, check out the link below in the description. But basically, you just buy something off the website, use the coupon code, and you'll be entered in to win this 7.3. Comment below with any questions, or make sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. Until next time,
see ya!